Hello there, everyone. How are you doing?
Happy 17th of June.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it. We're live. There's no take-backs tonight, so thank you for joining us online. Hey, Tim, I saw your Messenger come up. I'm not on Messenger right now, buddy. I'm so sorry. I can't find a way of being able to answer that question. If you'd like, you can put it into our online feed here, or we can certainly get into it next week. So thank you for being such a faithful friend of ours, Tim. Hello, everyone.
Oh, look, there's Jasper. Hello, Jasper.
Hey, Jasper. How you doing, mate? It's great to have you with us.
Yes. Yes.
And Connor's with us. G'day, buddy. How are you doing?
Will. Hey, Will.
Will finished his first semester of Youth Alive Air Academy.
Woohoo.
So
Congrats,
good stuff,
Will.
man. Really looking
done.
forward to taking you out to Macca's this week and just chatting through first semester. So just great stuff, man. Love seeing young people just apply themselves to call of God in their life.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have a Big Mac for me.
Can I have two? No. No.
Not necessary.
And Barbie, how are you doing this evening, Barbie? It's fantastic. I think I might have said fantastic like 7 times already.
It is one of your favourite words.
It's a fantastic word.
Yeah, it's a great word.
Fantastic is a fantastic word.
Yeah.
Anyway, so hey, let's dive in. Tim, I just saw you jump online again, brother, and I know that you said there might be a question tonight. If you would be happy or comfortable putting it into the news feed, we'll see if we can get to it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, do send it in Messenger, my friend, and we will get to it next week. So it's terrific to be online tonight. We actually do have some stuff that we want to get into, but we've got some stuff that we want to chat about first, I guess.
Yes, we do. Yes. Restrictions eased today. Woohoo. Thank you, Peter Gutwin. So, Matt, would you like to just share an update on what's happening?
Yeah, sure. So obviously one of the questions that we are continually working and wrestling with is how do we come back to in-person gathering? Well, look, we have just so loved being with you online, and we want to let you know we're going to continue our online gatherings. Our online church on Sunday morning is going to continue. We're going to continue to change that up a little bit. You've maybe even heard just in that last statement, I'm starting to call it online church. So we've called it online gatherings to this point. So it's a really, I guess that's a statement of our commitment to staying with you in online land, but in all the different variations of that through the week, because our teams are just rising to it, and the way that you are sharing and the way that you are engaging and liking, I really trust that there's stuff in you which is growing. We sort of believe that this season has actually revealed something in a community of faith and in people of a need for people, but a need for truth and a need for hope and a need just to find a way of connecting.
Yeah.
And as much as we could sort of go, we've gone off into sort of social isolation, I actually think people are coming together in some really beautiful expressions of love and faith. Yeah. So one, our online gatherings and our online expressions are going to continue. What we would like to just take a minute to chat with you about is how we are doing our in-person gatherings.
Yes.
And just to put it lightly, it's doing my head in. We are working with our teams, board, elders, staff, and a wider leadership community to work out how we are going to be doing that in really safe ways and in ways which actually allow us to celebrate the ways that we want to, as much as there will be differences.
Yeah.
But the message hasn't changed, just the formatting has. Right. And so we're really asking that you just continue to pray for us. We're praying as well that the Lord would lead us. We're going to be guided by the Holy Spirit. We're going to continue to be guided by the great information we get from the Department of Health and indeed our own movement, ACC. Pastor Wayne and Lynn Alcorn, our national leaders, Pastor David and Alex Morse, our state leaders have done a fantastic job. Pastor Gus Yeasley has also been a tremendous asset for us, working out how we come back into gathering. But we want it to be safe, we want it to be secure, we want it to be sustainable. Absolutely. And so we're really just continuing to work on those things. Connect groups are back in.
Yahoo.
You're actually off to a Connect group tonight.
I so am.
Fantastic. And so we're doing a whole bunch of sort of safe practicing in around that as well. So all of your Connect group hosts, leaders, And in fact, anyone who's already jumped into an in-person connect will have been given information as to how we're doing that in the safest possible ways.
Yep.
And I guess in a sense, it's just us practicing before we come back into a building. But it's going to be a little different. But then we're getting used to different now.
Well, we really are, aren't we? It's been different. The last few months have been very different. Unprecedented.
So is there anything you'd like to add in terms of that?
No, you've done a great job.
Really? Great. So please feel free to ask us the questions, and we can do that. We can keep answering those questions. Just hold your horses. We're going to get there. We will be back in person. I promise you. It's really is going to be sensational, and we're not going to miss our online family either. We're going to continue working on that. So
sensational and fantastic.
Sensational, fantastic, and brilliant.
Like that.
Do you want to go brilliant? Excellent.
Brilliant.
Great.
Excellent.
We could do alphabet edification.
We could, but let's not.
Let's not.
I
Okay.
started that,
So yes, you did. So we had a question from a little boy last week called Isaac, and Isaac wrote in and said, "Is it now time to change from following Collingwood and start supporting Sydney Swans?" And our Isaac,
Absolutely.
yes, it is. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
The statistics would say, Isaac, that the difference between Collingwood supporters and Sydney supporters is. Sydney supporters have a higher IQ, their personal hygiene is better, and they actually have more friends. So, but the only other thing you could possibly do is just rejoice, Isaac, that you don't follow Essendon. But as you can tell, football's back. Isaac asked the question, how would you introduce the Bible to someone who knows next to nothing about it?
It's a great question.
It is a fantastic question, and it's one that we want to dive into a little bit tonight. I think that we could probably drive after how do you share the Bible, how do you talk to the Bible about someone. But for me, it feels like a part of a wider conversation. For me, it feels like, so how would you begin a conversation, not just about the Bible, but maybe about Jesus or church, or how do I share my faith and have conversations, Dylan? How would I have conversations about religion?
Yeah.
And so I want to dive into some stuff, and then I'm going to ask Karen to actually, I guess, highlight a little bit of the father's heart for our kids and how that plays out, and then we'll come back and we'll parallel that spiritually again.
Yeah, great. We do have a question, by the way.
We do, okay. So but I'm going to keep going after this. Can we come back to that question? Great. So for me, how do we have these conversations? How do we begin opening up thoughts about sharing the Bible or helping people read it or talk about church? The truth is that there isn't one size that fits all.
No, that's right.
All of our kids are different. All of our church is a little different. And so while it would be easy enough to start saying, oh, you could do this, you could do that. I guess what my first and probably my primary thought would be is that the most important thing we understand before we talk about how do I share the Bible, how do I talk about faith and religion, is to understand what the Father's heart is for that person.
Yeah, that's great.
And so I love Matthew 5:16, and this is sort of an opening sense here, but it says, "In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven."
Beautiful.
So how do we have these conversations? How do we explain things? How do we begin the journey with people? Jesus is saying you are salt and you are light.
Yeah.
Salt can't lose its saltiness. Light can't lose its lightness. But you, in the same way, let your good deeds be light for them, that they may see those good deeds and go, man, that must be, there's something about you that I am interested in.
Yeah,
And so even as we talk about salt, it's how do our lives, how does our language, how does our joy or our peace, when we have problem or challenge, how do we celebrate when things go well for us? It shines and shows the Father and actually makes them thirsty for a little bit more.
Yeah, great.
Karen, could you read James for us? Because I think there's something in that too, just while I cough.
I can. Excuse me. Okay, James 2:18. This is the Passion Translation. It says, "But someone might object and say, one person has faith and another person has works. Go ahead then and prove to me that you have faith without works, and I will show you faith by my works as proof that I believe.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So if we're beginning, how do I start explaining the Bible? How do I start having conversations about Jesus, the church, faith? It's actually by demonstrating that Jesus is actually alive in me. It's actually demonstrating and talking about church in the most positive ways. It's actually about saying this is what has happened when light has come into my life, when truth has revealed chains. This is actually how does this actually come about that we can be really walking out our faith. In that James, it actually says, show me or prove to me that you have faith. And so in the King James it says, showeth me, okay? But it says to give evidence of or to prove something. And that can be in word or in teaching. But I also find that sometimes we want to teach before we actually show.
Yeah.
We actually want to engage in a conversation that has no foundation because we actually aren't living a life of peace, a life of consistency, a life which is overflowing with thankfulness. And I think that as we are living those lives, then the answers that we start giving uniquely to people about how do I talk to people about the Bible, church, Jesus, those answers actually have a substance, and those answers actually have a foundation that people go, I like what you're saying, not just because I hear you say it, but because I see you live it.
Yes, very good.
And so, there is that statement that I don't care what you know until they know that you care. And there's a great challenge for that. And it can be easily misconstrued by saying, oh, therefore I've got to get my life 100% together before I do something.
Not at all.
If we're waiting for perfection,
Yeah.
well, we're not going to find that until we
That's
step
right.
out of these earth suits.
That's right.
So anyway, I trust that's a bit more of an opening conversation as about saying, let your light shine and actually go and step out acts of faith and love and service and thanksgiving and gratitude and honour, and therefore any answer that you give, Jesus tells his disciples, don't worry about what you're going to say, because the Holy Spirit will actually give you those utterances.
Yeah.
He will fill your mouth with a knowledge, a truth, a grace, a love, that you'll be answering some of these questions and you go, man, love, I didn't even know that I was that smart.
Yeah.
So that's that. I guess as we understand the Father's heart, I'd just like to try and put it into some context too, because if we're going to start having Christian conversations, if we don't understand how much God loves this person, if we don't understand how he desires to move their life out of chains and into freedom, if we don't understand that he's got a plan for their life, they're alive for a reason, and that even their tribulation is going to come out in the form of testimony, then it's challenging for that.
Yes.
So I've spoken for a bit, and we always know that is a danger.
That's okay.
But I guess I've loved watching you raise our kids. I've loved watching you raise 5 very different children. I've loved watching you raise children right across the gamut, from Beth now into marriage, looking at buying a home, starting businesses, to Archie still sort of not really caring what day it is and just wants to play Connect 4 and watch Transformers. The way that you've been able to approach and love all of those kids, to me is the most wonderful demonstration of the Father's heart and love. And so can I ask you, and just to maybe parallel that into some practical examples, what is it that you want for your kids? Do you want, I can get more specific?
Well, because there's a lot I want for my kids.
What is it that you want for your children in terms of the dreams that they have?
The dreams that they have, I would love to support and encourage them to pursue those dreams. I would love to say that that with application and with dedication.
Love that. I'm just writing some of this down. So good.
With hard work, it's not that necessarily everything will come about. Everything that we dream will come about. Our son Noah, who's 20 now, he used to, since he was 5, had aspirations that he was going to be one of the best soccer players for Australia. That was all he wanted to do. And in my heart, I never tried to attend every game thinking it's never going to happen for him. I didn't want to have to be a realist in his life. I wanted to be a supporter and encourager and an enabler, actually, of that. I feel like that's part of my job and my, I suppose, a privilege is to actually be an enabler for my children, to say, I will stand beside you and I'll encourage you to pursue your dreams. Now, is he playing for Australia? No. Did he give it his best? Absolutely. And he gave it everything. And it wasn't to be in the right times, the right opportunities. They just didn't eventuate. But honestly, he's a hard-working player. He worked with some great coaches, and he represented Tasmania as a teenager. He was the captain of the team, and he did a great job. He got a really bad injury when he was about 15, and it really made things a bit challenging. But it was just to encourage him to continue to seek out that opportunity. And at the right time, when he said, I don't think this is going to happen, I think then when you're able to say, that's okay, because you've given it your best and God has something else for you. But what he's teaching you in that process, as you encourage them with their dreams, their gifting, their aspirations, I really think it's important. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, you, in terms of their dreams, what is it that you want? You desire for our kids, in terms of their partners, in terms of their life partners?
Well, I would pray that each of them has a partner who, first of all, knows God. Really is something that I pray. That God is going to have his way with whoever that person is. So that doesn't mean it's going to look the way that I expect or that I intend, but I really pray that God will have his way.
Yeah, great.
With that person. I really pray that the wife that God has purpose for my sons is going to be just a woman who's going to encourage and call the best out of them. Who's going to seek to edify, who's going to seek to see their God-given purposes released in their lives. And for my daughters, I just believe, and I've got a beautiful son-in-law in Tom. And honestly, when we met Tom, he didn't have a faith, but God is so faithful that now he is walking on that journey with Beth. It's something that they're pursuing and discovering, and I really love his openness. So God just brought the right man into her life, because he's someone who just so wants to support and encourage her and release her God-given purposes, and isn't threatened or isn't overwhelmed by her passion and enthusiasm for the Father. If anything, it's actually been something that has just blessed his life tremendously. So super thankful for that, and yeah.
That's great. That's wonderful.
Yep.
So I'm moving towards a point tonight that's sort of, I guess, paralleling the way that we have dreams and desires for our kids, to understand the dreams and the desires that our Father has for his global, children, is something we'll look at in just a second. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to Nathaniel too, man. It's great to see you online. I miss you too, man. Nathaniel was a brother from Rookie.
Oh, right,
in
yes.
all the days that Rookie came down, I've still got a top, and you should see Jonah. He must have only been about this high when you guys came. And
know that Jonah was.
Wasn't he?
No, I don't know. I think it was Noah. I was little.
Right. Anyway, he is a kicking drummer. Yeah. Nah, it's just awesome. So anyway,
Beth still has a Rookie T-shirt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, there you go.
Yeah, very good. All right, so we talked about dreams. We talked about partners. What is it? What do you want to see in terms of in our kids' gifts? Because they've all been gifted, and what is it that you want? What is your heart for them to be in their gifts?
Heart that they will feel a release. Heart that they will feel a connection with the Father. I think there's something sometimes when you really pursue a God-given gift. I mean, all of our gifts, I believe, are God-given.
Macca's got a great gift,
and it's
smashing guitars.
But it's an opportunity in that space. I mean, as I get to play the piano, when I can have an opportunity just to reflect and enjoy, for me, it's an opportunity to connect with the Father. I think I was saying a few weeks ago, an opportunity just to communicate in a different way. I really pray that as my kids explore their gifts, and I encourage them to do that to the best of our ability. We encourage them to do that. That they have that opportunity just to see the Father's part of his identity released
that's really
in them.
good.
Also that they'll use it to the best of their abilities to bless other people. That it's not about themselves, and it's not about elevating themselves or putting themselves above others, but actually how they have an opportunity to use that for greater good, for greater purpose. Yeah, and I mean that often takes hard work too. So that's part of parenting, is actually encouraging them to actually go, just because you have a gift, to actually realise your gift and your potential, you actually have to apply yourself. There's application involved. There is work. Nothing happens. You know, I have this gift, so
No, I'm fair.
that's it. Yeah,
That's it. I've got a gift, and I'm God's gift to everything. I don't have to. I don't have to apply myself. I don't have to be pruned. I don't ever make mistakes. Yeah. No, that's really, really good. So, I guess all this conversation is all around an opening question that said, how do I explain or share or talk about the Bible to someone who knows nothing about it, or next to nothing about it? And we've taken that question, we've sort of read between a few lines, and we've started talking about how do we have conversations with people either new to faith, exploring faith, uncertain about faith. I want to tell you, I actually think that majority of at least the Western world, Australian culture, let's narrow it down a little bit, actually doesn't have a problem with Jesus. I think they actually would really like to know Jesus. I think that they would actually go, I know that there's something missing in my life, and if everything about this man is true, the way, the truth, the life, that he is light, he is salt, he is goodness, that I can find eternal life in him, that he is a shepherd that leads me beside still waters. He is also going to come again and set me free, etc., etc. I think they actually want to know Jesus. But they can't find Jesus, sometimes in the trappings and the traditions of the church. And sometimes they actually are just wanting to ask questions, but we want to teach too quickly as opposed to reveal his heart. I think if we're too quick to teach, if we're too quick to try and give an answer as opposed to reveal his passion for them, then I think our answers can sometimes, we wonder why our answers sometimes skim off the surface and sort of slide off. You know, I think because we're actually often not going, Father, how can this question, the Bible, church, you know, I remember having a young guy ask me, I can't come to church because I don't wear a tie. I don't own a tie. You know, I mean, look at us. We don't. That's not how our church rolls. And I'm not suggesting that other churches are wrong, but there are these roadblocks to people encountering the love, the grace, the freedom that faith in Jesus brings. But because we want to teach, and I'm not saying that we don't want to give good foundations. We don't want to be able to add to their faith, as 2 Peter says. But if we're too quick to teach and too slow to reveal his heart, open up who this Father's heart is for them as a person, I think we miss something. And again, let me qualify this. We are a church which loves good teaching. Absolutely. But I guess we're talking more workplace conversations. So, in terms of the questions I then asked you, is what is your heart for your kids? The way that you've been able to talk about their dreams, their partners, and their gifts, because you know them intimately, because you love them uniquely, because you've watched them grow from the first sort of ultrasounds all the way through their ups and their downs, their good days and their ugly ones, their mistakes and their triumphs. You've seen them stand on the stage and kick goals, and you've sat on the bed with them crying. Because you've known them, you can actually intimately speak into the gifts, their hope for partnership, and their dreams that they have. And so I guess as we are wanting to love our neighbour, as we're wanting to communicate with our workmate, as we're wanting to, even talk with a spouse that may not understand our faith journey or what we are desiring in our faith, beloved, the most important thing is we read Matthew 5. Let your good works shine before men. We read James 2:18. That is, I'll show you my faith by what I'm doing. Beloved, if we can pray, Father, show me your heart. for this person.
Yes.
Show me your
Yeah, very
heart
good.
for this brother and sister. Show me your heart that my answer would actually answer their real question. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes the question is actually not the question. Sometimes the question is, does God care for me? Would he really want to know me? Can I really know God? And if we are doing that, we are moving in a greater sense of spirit and moving into that place. So
that's very good.
I feel like I've dug myself a bit of a hole, but I think there's something in that for all of us. Have we've got, what, a couple of minutes left? Is there another question that you'd like to...
Well, we'll actually put one up. He
Will.
said, what's been your biggest takeaway from the COVID experience?
We probably got pizza more than any other, although we did get a bit of takeaway KFC.
Actually didn't. No, that's not true. We actually saved quite a bit in this period. It's very cheeky.
Yeah.
Lots of things. Change is inevitable. Change happens.
Wow.
Whether you like it or not. Actually,
Change happens.
Change happens, and you can't really do much about it. I don't think there's anything that any of us could have done to prevent this, to change this. It happened to us. But I think God's provision, God's faithfulness, in the midst of that, I think having a community of people around you has been really significant for me personally. I really pray that's been the case for a lot of people. Having people to call upon, having food available, having care available, having prayer available, having someone just a phone call away, just knowing that you're not in this alone.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think I'm a bit of a loner, really. Actually, I've enjoyed self-isolation, but I've also seen the need and the importance in connection.
Yeah.
More than ever. So
Yep.
That's just a couple of takeaways, and you can survive with a lot of people in your house if you have to. Yeah, as we have. And a lot of other people have. I'm looking at Teresa this evening and thinking how amazingly well and how inspired we are by the way that you've gone about. I mean, always Teresa, but particularly these last few months.
Yeah. I love the question. I love Will's heart. I think he is a learner. And I think that there'd be a couple of things in there. I think the people that we've probably seen move through this season, maybe not the easiest, because I don't think anyone's found it easy, but with the most fruit, I think are the people who have actually wanted to stay learning. I love what Beth shared last night in Living What We Learn, that school's always in.
Yes.
And I think one of my great takeaways is the willing learners and the people who are willing to go through pain in order to take hold of a greater promise have actually really flourished in this time. And even if we don't actually hold the treasure in our hands right now, we know that something is stored up. We know that there is something like a tree which needs to develop its root ball in winter, so that it's actually got this supply of nutrients that when spring comes can push all that nutrient up and into new leaves and into new fruit. I think that the learners have stored stuff up. I think the people who have been willing to go through pain and learn from that are going to really bear a great deal of fruit in the future. And so, even as I'm sort of saying that, question without notice, it could feel like, I didn't do pain very well, I didn't learn as much as I could have, and I can feel already the enemy already starting to try and speak a word of discouragement and even condemnation over friends and family who go, well, gee whiz, that means I didn't do it as well, and I'm not going to come out of it as strong. That's not the truth. I think that there are things that we've all learnt. There's things that we've all adapted to. There's things and there's truths that we've all have become much more evident. There's skills that we've grown in, and there's understandings of our capacity that there's not a single person who hasn't changed who hasn't learnt during this time. So I'd expect something fantastic.
I think that there's capacity for everybody to have experienced and learned something different, and different good looks different to everybody. Blessing looks different to different people.
Yeah, right.
I think all of us have had to step out of our comfort zone in one way or another. I think everybody's had to learn a different approach. I think everybody's had to learn a different response.
That's great.
And, you know, I think in that, as we're all growing, I think that's what you're talking about, in being teachable. There's just that opportunity to go, okay, this isn't what I thought, but I'm still going to embrace this to the best of my ability. And I just love what Danielle just put up, you know, that breakthrough, that however that looks, Danielle, that you're just continuing to pursue that. I think that's my prayer for everybody in this season. It doesn't matter how things are looking. It's not to deny how they're looking, but it's just that sense of, I'm just going to continue to pursue breakthrough. I'm going to continue to pursue what I know is there, whether I can actually physically take hold of that at this time, but I'm going to continue to hope, going to continue to believe, going to continue to press in.
Yeah.
So just to encourage you, wherever you found yourself, that
Can I add one more really quick thing?
Sure.
John Maxwell talks about the concept of your attitude determines your altitude, and as pilots know, me being such a pilot, but attitude is the way the plane is sitting in the sky. Obviously, altitude is the height that it flies at, and it's our attitude which determines our altitude. And in terms of our attitude to learning, our attitude towards brokenness and mistakes, and how we can fail forward, our attitude to to learning and growing. We sort of launched a statement last night in one of our sort of first leadership gatherings, and it says, "What do I have to do, or what do we have to do to help make this happen?" So when God brings something into our life, I can guarantee you that you're not going through any problem, any trial that God is not determined to bring promise out of, and that He has not provided for you in the midst of. And so, as when we understand that we're invited to experience His potential, His possibility, His promise, if we can make our first statement is, what do I have to do? Or what can I do to help make this a reality, help make this happen, help make this bear fruit? That's our attitude coming in. The actions follow the attitude. Our behaviours follow our belief. We say that all the time. And so for me, the great challenge at the moment is with so many other things going on, demands of time and sort of talking about big rocks in the air, it's how can I, and what do I have to do to help make this happen? And there's some things which I'm doing which are not very helpful. And there are some things which I'm doing which are accelerating the ball forward. And I'm sharing with friends, and I'm talking with people, and I'm trying to just even change up. I think I mentioned on Monday morning taking some games off my iPad so I stopped wasting as much time. Being honest, I was really honest with a great mentor last night, and just I'm feeling a bit tired and those sorts of things. That attitude is determining my altitude. So we're done.
Yep.
I'm done. I should shut up.
You always have lots of amazing stuff to say, Matt. You really do.
Would you pray for us?
Yeah, I'd love to pray.
Thank you.
Father, thank you. Thank you for this time. Thank you for the opportunity just to gather in an online space, Father. Thank you for the opportunity just to share just our thoughts from our experiences, Father, from knowing your heart for us, Lord, from pursuing your heart for us, Father, with our friends and family. Father, I just really thank you for the questions. Thank you for the honest comments, Father. I'm so blessed by seeing people's honesty as they respond to what comes up. That's a real privilege to share in that space. And I just ask your blessing upon each and every person, Father, who's just pushed in, who's just switched on tonight, and really pray, Father,
thank you, Jesus.
Thank you and pray for those seeds that have been sown, Lord. They'll just be blessed in your name. Thank you, Jesus. We love you, Lord.
Yeah, amen. So bless you as you go and love somebody. We're back tomorrow night with communion.
Yes.
Excited about that. Sunday morning, 9:50 is our online church. And that's going to be outstanding. You can find us on YouTube and on Spotify, Abundant Life Church, Tasmania.
Fantastic. As Matt would say.
Fantastic.
And go love somebody.
God bless you.